Welcome to the Co-Movement Gym podcast. This week we are talking with Mark Trombin and Monica Barzanti. Mark lived 20 years as a cocaine addict, trying in vain to find his path. In 2016, he hit rock bottom. He decided to get in touch with the San Patrignano program, literally begging for help. He now works for San Patrignano as an educator, co-managing an educational program. Monica Barzanti is currently head of international relations at San Patrignano and began working with them as an educator in 1979, mentoring girls and young women in their recovery from drug addiction. In 1998, she joined the international relations team, coordinating and tutoring study visits to the San Patrignano community and seminars on its approach to substance use disorder with voluntary groups, students, social workers, policymakers, scholars, and people working in addiction, both Italian and foreign. She also collaborates in designing and implementing master's courses on addictions. Since 2006, she has been a member of the Vienna NGO Committee, representing San Patrignano at UN events. She also represents San Patrignano in many international networks as a consultant and expert in recovery and prevention methods. San Patrignano is the largest recovery community for drug addicts in Europe. It is a community that welcomes those suffering from drug addiction and marginalization and helps them once again find their way, thanks to a rehabilitation program that is above all a program based on love, and it is free because love is a gift. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spoke about this amazing facility and its high success rate in numerous podcast conversations, which is how I discovered this program and facility. I hope you enjoy this conversation. The Co-Movement Gym podcast is sponsored by Native Path Supplements, Lombardi Chiropractic, and A Dog's Day Out Doggy Daycare. Mention this podcast or use the promo code in the episode description for a nice discount on us. Monica and Mark, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
We're doing fine. Thanks for inviting us.
Fine, thanks.
I'm very excited to be talking today. I want to jump right in. We have a lot to get to. So on your website, you had said that you have a 72% recovery rate and that your program's been established for over 40 years. So you're clearly doing something right and highly effective. And so that's the main reason I'm excited to chat today, because I think a lot of people can benefit to hear about the details of what's going on in your program. And so can you explain to our listeners that are not aware of the San Patrignano program, what your program does?
Well, I can describe briefly what San Patrignano is and what we are doing over this actually 46 years now, because San Patrignano was founded in 1978 by a bunch of volunteers that wanted to do something to help out people in need in society. At that time in Italy, the worst social problem was an heroin epidemic that killed a lot of young people all over Italy. And so they decided to address their support and help to these young people. They didn't know how to treat substance use disorder, and actually at that time nobody knew. And they decided to host people and to offer them opportunities to change their life, trying to act with them as they would act with their own son or daughters. So the community grew through the years. We learned a lot by our mistakes, that were many, of course, because we didn't know exactly what was important to do. But we learned a lot by the resident. They taught to the founders how correctly address the problem, because they knew what they needed. And so all the rules and all what we do at San Patrignano comes from this collaboration between the original founders and the resident that yearly entered the community. Now San Patrignano is managed entirely by people who were former residents of the community that also gained some qualification, academic qualification with appropriate studies, and now they manage the community. We try to address the problem in a holistic way, offering not only recovery from substance use disorder, but progress into a new life. So tools, social and professional skills, and leisure time activities, sport, cultural activity, a wide range of options in order to be able to regain self-esteem and self-confidence, which is what is greatly lacking, missing in people with substance use disorder. This in brief.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you touched on so many
Matt,
great
do you
things
want
that
to add something? Sorry?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, Mark, you can add to that if you'd like to, buddy. Go ahead.
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, as Monica said, I think it's very difficult to describe our reality in a few words. You know, it's a life experience. There is, as she said, the word holistic. I think in a way gives a hint of how wide is the expression of of our rehab and of our program. What I think is amazing, and what I can say is, we don't think we're better than anybody else. I think there's many other realities that have a lot of sense. What makes us, I think, some in a way unique. It's the size of the place, and that offers us a chance to make this place be basically a loyal reproduction of our society. So whenever you join the program, what you're going to do mainly is gonna experiment yourself as if you were in society. Everything happens pretty much the same way. It's a plastic of what goes on out there, protected obviously, because when you fail, you're not going to pay the consequences that you pay in a society. So you're not going to end up in jail, you're not going to end up overdosing or with some kind of disease. So you're going to have a chance to fall and work on your limits, work on your fragilities, work on whatever you need to work on. So I think this is one of the best sides of San Patrignano. I was lucky enough to arrive here in 2017. I think I joined the place that was at his peak of quality expression. I met Monica and her buddies who founded the place. My mentor, Vani, who died 2 years ago, unfortunately. He grew up with all of them, and they learned how to deal with this kind of problem through experience. So they learned probably by going through mistakes as well, which is, what I mean, unique. 40, 45 years, half a century of experience, completed with some studies, some degree in a way. And I think I was blessed to arrive when they had a clue of what they were doing. They had a very good clue. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So they have a lot of knowledge. I think our deal is to, what's very difficult is to take the values. They are somehow to inherit these values and to express them in our society, in the contemporary society, to evolve it. Okay, so this is a huge responsibility.
You brought up the word holistic a few different times, and it's one of the main reasons why I wanted to chat with both of you on your program, because um, there are so many topics that I feel are not addressed necessarily from like a counseling perspective with individuals. So, for example, like healthy eating and exercise, time in nature, learning a skill and having a purpose. I want to get into this, topic by topic with your program. So, like, let's talk about healthy eating. Tell me about, I know there's a farm right within your program. How do the residents eat? How important is healthy eating with them? Can you talk about that?
Okay. Well, okay. We are lucky enough, I think, to be surrounded by a food culture. It's a Mediterranean diet, basically, which is, I think, one of the best in the
Mhm.
world. This is what they say. I enjoy our food,
Mhm.
and eating is food, and it's a huge part of our life and of our rehab life. Um, what we deal with, I think, every day, especially in some areas of the program, is with uh, problems with direttura alimentare, how do you say that?
Food disorder.
Food disorder, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mm.
we need to be
This is
very,
quite an issue,
it's a huge
especially
issue.
for female.
Females. So we need to really be careful of what we are feeding. I'm talking about ingredients. I'm talking about dressing. I'm talking about trying to balance proteins and carbs in order to teach as well people how to eat and how to not lose their balance, and to especially when it comes to addiction, what an addicted looks for is a way to express his addiction, and food can be an option. So to find the right
Can be
balance,
addictive.
yeah,
It's
it
really
can be addictive. Yeah. You're gonna express your problem in that direction, most likely. So what we see often happening in Sapa is people arrive and they really eat a lot. Their tendency is to keep asking for food. So what we try to do is to slowly, gradually bring them back in an area where even food is something you are taking care of your nutrition.
And also orientate this, let's say, disorder towards implementing activities in sport and some kind of physical commitment, engagement, so that people can balance having food, maybe a bit more, but spending energy through physical activities. And
Mhm.
we saw through the year that, especially for those girls and young women who suffer most from their food disorder than from their substance use disorder, because these young women and girls first suffered because of food disorder and then started using substances.
Mhm.
So for this reason, it is fundamental for them to have a regular, not excessive, but regular physical activity. So we have a running team that engages them 3-4 times per week, so that they can, with a trainer that train them and teach them how to balance this activity. It is very important.
Yeah, I want to add something about that's what surrounds nutrition. Um, in trying to teach or reteach again people how to eat in Sampa, we add a very important social ingredient. We have a huge dining room, we can call it. It's a pretty big dining room. Every day, 3 times per day, all together, we sit down and we eat 1,000 of us together. We have a kitchen in which we have 67 today people working, 3 cooks who take care of our nutrition every day. So it's a reproduction of a family setting. Um, so it goes a bit beyond nutrition. It's a moment you need to learn how to enjoy. And you're not going to abuse food. You're not going to eat less than what's needed. So we are very careful and inviting whoever is going through a very difficult period and doesn't want to eat, because we have both sides of the problem. So we try to invite and somehow push people to enjoy 360 degrees that moment, not only looking at the specific nutritional importance of food. It has both social and
psychological,
yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing to hear that. You hit on three big points there. I had no idea the nutritional component was so in depth. You have such a high recovery rate with your patients and community members. I would assume a lot of it has to do with like their nutrition coming into the program is probably quite unhealthy. I would say that they're consuming toxins and maybe high levels of sugar, and you're getting them clean and their system running on healthy whole foods again. And then you're balancing that with exercise, which we all know is amazing. And then there's the social component with them eating with new friends. You said like with 1,000 people in your cafeteria. So there's so much healing done, I believe, in those three components that they didn't have before they started your program. And so is there anything else you want to add to that? I could do a whole conversation on just those three, because I feel that it's so important and it's so rare to see a rehab program focus on those three things, especially here in the States. I don't see that at all.
I think that this part of the program is the initial phase in which you give people the opportunity to feel physically healthy, and this physical health also pass to the mental health aspect, and you feel much better. This is actually the situation in which a lot of people find themselves after 5-6 months.
Yeah.
They feel much better, they feel healthy, they feel okay. And actually, after 6 months, the difficulties rise, because many people feel so healthy that they say, okay, we can leave, no need to stay longer. But as a matter of fact, this is only the first part of the process. After 6 months, you start going more in depth to work on those issues that are at the basis of your developing again an addiction, a substance use disorder. So this is only the first, how can I call it, the first work, the first part of the job.
Yeah, so phase one essentially would be like nutrition, social environment, and exercise, and then people start feeling a lot better, giving you the ability to dive deeper into some root cause issues. That makes complete sense. I read on your website, Monica and Mark, that they have to do, is it a 3-year minimum commitment to live there? Is that right?
Yeah, this is what I wanted to add, the fact that this first part brings to the next steps, because the program at San Patrignano is much longer than anything you have ever heard, probably, because 6 months or 1 year is already a long period of time to remain within a community. But at San Patrignano, people remain to complete the program up to 3 years. Because we can say that we have 3 main pillars. The first one is to take care of the physical health, as we said, of the social relation, of the interpersonal connection, which are fundamental, because people who use drugs normally are isolated, do not relate to other people, are not accountable in everyday lives. So this part of the process is crucial. Then the second phase, you can see what it is interesting for you to learn, which kind of skill do you want to learn to spend it later into the labor market, and also which kind of leisure time activities can be fruitful for your own personal growth. So this is also a fundamental part of the process that brings to gaining a diploma, gaining a certification, gaining a title that can be spent one completed the program into the labor market. Another fundamental pillar is to take care of the mental health issue that often are underneath the disorder, the drug use disorder, that might be of different origin, but normally comes from ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, or trauma people suffered in their childhood. It is important to address them. So all the educational process that take care of the problem of substance use disorder is flanked by actions to address these mental issues. If we do not address them, they will probably cause relapse. So you have to address food disorder mainly, which might be bulimia or anorexia. You have to address sexual abuse, because 40% of our girls suffered sexual abuse in their childhood. So it is a very high percentage. And regarding male, the data are probably not totally true, because it is difficult for male to open up regarding this particular issue. So also male have this kind of problem. So all these issues need to be addressed. And we have a staff of psychotherapists, psychologists that take care of these aspects, not of the problem of addiction, but of the underneath problems that needs to be elaborated by people with the help of the professionals.
Yes. You mentioned, Monica, that they learn a skill while they're there. Can you speak to that? Like, what skills and degrees and educations are they provided there?
Yes, there are many opportunities. The first part is in the San Patrignano is divided into many different departments that are like small communities, therapeutic communities, in which there is a person in charge, or 2 or 3 persons in charge, that take care of a group of people that learn by doing that kind of activity which is performed in that department. But in addition to that, they can also access to school. If they abandon their studies, they can gain a formal education title, so that they can go to school every day. We have an internal school, and we have 100 students per year, more or less.
More or less.
Yeah. They do tutoring, no, I don't know how to call it in English.
Hotel management.
Hotel management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, dental technicians, and also social worker. Also, we have convention with universities, so they can also access to online university and take a degree at the university. Then we also have a collaboration with the Emilia-Romagna region, which is the area in which San Patrignano is located, the area of Italy. And we have a great support from them. They fund all our professional courses through the social fund for people, disadvantaged people. So we have from 12 to 16 different courses per year that can be offered to 2,050 people every year. Our courses 1 year, 6 months, 1 year and a half, 2 years, according to the kind of course they access.
I'll try to describe as much as I can.
You can describe yours,
right,
your department.
A department. Okay. Now I as I wrote you on my short bio, I co-manage a department, one of San Patrignano's departments, with Marco, my partner, who's been here since 1981. So we are somehow putting together the new energy and the experience from his, long San Patrignano's story. But what we do is it's 50 people in my sector. It's males, all male. Average age is set between 26 and 27. So we have a couple of minors. We have minors in San Patrignano as well. And the oldest is, I would say, 36, 37 years old. Our department sector is called accoglienza, which means literally hospitality. And our daily job is to manage this area, this facility in which we eat and cook food. So we set up the dining room, I like to call it this name, our dining room 3 times per day. Every day we clean it. There's a big part of maintenance into it. So there is a full day work reproduction that goes from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon p.m. Okay, managing this area. Plus, on the other side, we have an event office, so we organize events. We are open. This is another splendid thing of San Patrignano, that it's open to society. So we deal a lot with the outdoors, business-wise, communication-wise, events.
Companies come and organize the conventions,
meetings. Right. We work with big companies. We work with artistic realities, and we host many different events. Can be team building or sports events. Like really, a lot of stuff goes on, and whenever that happens, our department is ready to offer a catering service. So we set up wherever needed in our facility, which is huge. I mean, I wish you would be here so you could take a look around. So if we need a spot where we serve our food, our products, we do it ourselves. So they learn how to manage this kind of professional area. And our guys, they study as well, as Monica was saying.
Most of them go to school.
Most of them go to school. We have 2 degrees. We're talking about high school degrees. We want them to re-enter society with a chance to either work with a degree or move on with their studies. And so our high school degrees is divided in social studies and hotel management, which is perfect for what we do. So they go to school, they learn the business, they earn, and they accomplish something that goes beyond the professional aspect of it, some culture as well, and
an ethic of work,
an ethic of work, which is very important, especially today. I mean, our community, our society is like founded on social media. This is something that goes, it's educational 360 degrees. We are working with society as well, our a way of bringing something to society is not only working on addiction. We send them back in society with some other interest, with a very like a real learning experience, and they know how to do something. In addition to that, we have how many? More or less 20 departments in Sampa, and they learn all kind of job. It can be working in the fields, blacksmiths, working on graphic in the graphic department, craftsmanship. They work leather. We have a textile
department that produce handmade loom textiles, very precious,
and cooperating with the high level luxury brands, Italian brands, and the fashion industry. So there's a lot to learn. We bring them back from Mars to Earth to learn something. I think that the main focus so far.
Yeah, I would like to add regarding what you are saying, Mark, that this was our way also to fight stigma. Because people that get out from San Patrignano are not former addicts, but are people with the skill, with the knowledge, with also an important ethic regarding accountability and responsibility. So it's all the companies that collaborate with us are really happy to employ some of our people if they can, if they want, because they are really satisfied with their job, with what they do. Of course, there is someone that can not do everything perfectly, but all of them are really, they trust our people. So this is an important aspect for changing culture around addiction. They see that people can change their life, can become new people, can become really responsible, accountable, and this is crucial, I think.
Yeah, it is absolutely, Monica and Mark, because you're right, that stigma, you don't want that to stick with them when they leave and when they are healed and ready to re-enter society. So you're giving them a skill set and, most importantly, a sense of purpose when they leave, that, and a sense of confidence knowing that they have a skill that they can give to society. I saw that. I watched a few YouTube videos on your facility, and that was an area I wanted to spend some time on. So thank you for that. Native Path has been a podcast sponsor of ours since day one, and it's because our clients feel amazing using their supplements. While a lot of products on the market today contain useless fillers and incorrect dosages, Native Path holds to a higher standard. Native Path's ingredients are sourced from only the highest quality, properly combined nutrients, all while being offered at competitive prices. Use code COMO15, that's COMO15 at checkout, and receive 15% off each order. Lombardi Chiropractic has been Co-Movement's trusted chiropractor for the last 14 years. They have worked with hundreds of our clients, and I can confidently say they have the most knowledgeable and holistic approach to care that I have ever seen. Whether you suffer from migraines, low energy, nagging pain, or just simply want to improve your overall health, I highly recommend contacting the team at Lombardi Chiropractic. Mention the Co-Movement Gym podcast and receive 50% off your initial consultation and x-rays. Here at Co-Movement, we put a lot of energy into helping you become happy, healthy, and strong. But we're not the only ones needing a good workout. That's why a dog's day out is the best place in Central New York for your pet to spend their day. Your dog will be as happy and healthy as you when you let them run, play, and socialize instead of just sitting on the couch waiting for you to come home. Give your dog the active day out that they deserve. Mention this podcast and get a free day of doggy daycare at a dog's day out. There's two other areas I wanna get into with your program before we move on with more specific questions. Is there limited time to see family and friends outside of the San Patrignano environment? Can you speak to that? I think I read it somewhere in an article that there's limited time outside of that.
Okay, what do you mean? If they can meet their families outside the
Yes.
facility? No, they
Yes.
can't. They will meet them inside the facility.
Not at the beginning.
Okay. So they can come into the facility.
The first home visits happen after 2 years and something.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting at. So there's a 2-year window where they don't have the contact with family or friends, or no?
They have contact, but they come and visit them at San Patrignano.
Gotcha. Okay. Then I misunderstood that because I was like, man, that would be quite a long time. But that makes sense. No. They have to see them at the facility. That makes complete sense. So I want to go back to healthy lifestyle and like sleep and how important sleep is. Are they do you monitor is like bedtime when they get up? How are they, is there a schedule with sleep?
Only to complete the previous information, I also want to add that we have a lot of, let's say, Zoom stations, Skype station, and through this instrument, they can remain in contact with the families at home, or especially if they have kids at home, they can meet them online every week or every couple of weeks, because it is important for them to keep this contact.
Yes.
Or children might have problems when they go back after 2-3 years in having a good relation with their fathers or mother. Sometimes we also ask children of residents within the community. But if they can't reach them here, their parents, they remain in contact through online. Regarding the other question.
Okay. Yeah. I'll add another information. It's the family situation. It's always a big part of our program, obviously. No matter if we're talking about parents, genitors, father, mother, or we're talking about sons or daughters, you always 99.9% of the time, you have to rebuild help to rebuild
a disrupted relationship.
Right, a relationship unhealthy matters. So yes, they will meet them for sure, 100%. We want them to meet their family at the right time. Individually, we evaluate how long it takes before the host, the guest is ready for that kind of impact, because it will be a very powerful emotional impact. So we need to protect and then guide, helping, not telling them how to deal with it, or just being a good support. We are very friendly in this way. We need everybody to go out, not only with a professional skill or with some sort of balance. We want them to be ready to go back into society with every part of the puzzle in their place. Unfortunately, many times family is the problem. is the problem, because they might sometimes they need to come here as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
They would need.
they would need to come here
Yeah.
as well. So it's a very, very articulated and difficult area to manage. This is why we have 52 associations spread out all over Italy that work with families. They are a middleman for us. They work with them. They meet them twice a week. They give them information. They guide them. And all of these associations are managed by people who's been in the program or their families. So they know exactly how to deal with it. And we have plenary meetings here with them in Sampa 4 or 5 times per year. We talk to them every day. So there's a very wide network for dealing with this kind of issue.
As if the family is the parents of the resident at home go through a program as well
Yeah.
as the
Yeah.
resident. And it is
Yes.
necessary, because often they are not the whole reason for the loved one to use drugs, but they had an important weight on that.
Yes, that was why I was so interested in how you connected them back to family and friends, because I understand that that could be the problem, or a large piece of it, right? Like, there's this saying that I always say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And so if you've got friends and family that are negative and into, bad habits and whatnot, the chances of you acclimating to that side of things is quite high. It's the same thing like in the fitness world and the health consulting world that I work in. If you have a child that is obese and overweight, and their parents are also, and the parents don't want to change the way that they eat, the child will remain obese. And so it is more of a family affair. And so I was very interested to hear how you connect in with that side also. That's really, really, really cool. I am so impressed by this. I had asked about sleep. I know we went back just to elaborate a little bit more. Is sleep anything that you spend time on, like a set time you get up every day, a set time you go to bed, or is that not as important? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, but well, as I told you a few minutes ago, the departments are all small communities, therapeutic communities, group of people that take care of each other. There is a peer education among them, and peer support that provide all these rules, let's say, to be observed without not big issues, problems. Let's say, starting from the beginning, a newcomer, when he enters the community, he is taken in charge by a resident who has been here for 10 months, 1 year, a bit advanced in the program, but not totally, he has not completed it yet. But they together can help each other, because the newcomer can be open with this guy, because he think, okay, he was like me and now he is much better, so he can see hope in this relation. At the same time, the mentor, let's call him like that, the mentor can reflect into the newcomer and see which kind of mistakes he made and what he can do better. So they collaborate. It's a fruitful collaboration for them, for both. And also the whole group take care. I can't use a better verb to explain this action. They take care of each other. They look after each other. So if there is someone that don't want to wake up in the morning because he is angry, is something, they can take care of him without any imposition, but only with help and support, explanation, and trying to find a solution together.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what we want to happen. Our job is to we work individually, obviously, with every single person, every single day, nonstop. This is a business where you will be committed, period. But what really does makes a difference is how the group moves. So, like it or not, whenever you arrive, there's going to be a stream, and that stream is very powerful. It goes in one direction. Okay. Um, so when it comes back to sleeping time, yes, sure, everything is organized. There is um, a daily setting, and nothing is left to the case. I mean, there is a very, very deep thought behind any kind of detail. Okay, so sleeping hours are very important. We want you to have the right energy to swim in the stream the day after, because you might even don't want to do that. So it's going to be very tough for you. We want you to be rested. We want you to find the balance, the biological balance that sleep gives you. Without it, you're going to have a problem. And we know, especially when you come from the addiction lifestyle, sleep is a mess, like a total mess. Anxiety is a huge part of the problem when it comes to rest and sleeping. Um, Most of the addicted that arrive here, they have an anxiety problem, at different levels. So we try to set you up in that stream. So soon or later, you will gradually get used to that kind of rhythm. That rhythm I still work with today after 7 years and a half. And Monica as well. So it's fundamental. Yeah,
We have also, of course, a medical doctor. So in case people have important difficulties in having a good sleep, and they might receive some medication for a short period of time in order to facilitate, trying to avoid as much as possible the addictive medication like the benzodiazepine, but using those kind of medications that can address specifically that issue without creating further dependence, of course.
Yes.
We in the past we used to avoid any kind of medication. Now we understood that in some specific situation they might be necessary, they might be useful, that might help people to be more able to follow the program,
Yes.
using this medication to soften some symptoms that might cause them to abandon. So let's say at 20% of our people might assume some medication for a shorter or longer period of time accordingly, but we, with a very close monitoring, with a lot of attention to avoid any, let's say, distribution without real awareness of what's happening.
Yes.
But we consider the option of using some medication if it is necessary.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. That
right.
makes,
Yeah. I'll tell you something about medication. I agree. I totally agree with what Monica was saying. Sometimes it's needed. Okay, you need to support. Okay, support it, and I'm fully aware of it. What's kind of what makes me smile? 50, 50 guests I manage, I work with every day. Now we have only two of them who are under medication, and they're begging
wow.
every day to get rid of it because they want to
Wow.
compete. They want, they feel the need. And I
Yes.
have to work with them. I don't want them to be too exposed because it's dangerous. They feel that kind of pressure. They wanna be part of the game with the other part of the group. I understand that, and that's healthy. But at the same time, we need to be very careful. We can't just take medication away. They arrived with a heavy, how you call it, recipes. So we need to bring them back slowly,
Yes.
and we want them to ask us. We don't put any kind of pressure. And so that happens naturally. One of them specifically, he arrived here and he was an abuser. He's 40 years old, 37. He's one of the eldest in the group. And he's been under medication for 20 years now.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he does not have any kind of experience in his adulthood of life experience without the influence of
Yes.
the pharmaceutical option. So last week he asked me to get rid of everything, but we can't. Obviously, it's going to take a while. We're slowly, with the help of who has the knowledge and the professional skills to evaluate how to do it, Antonio, and we are bringing him in. We're gonna reach the goal, I'm sure, and then he's gonna try to do something else. So.
I can say that I'm working currently with a girl. She is working with me in the international area because she can speak very good English, and so she wants to progress into this skills, into this business. And when she came, she was on medication for I don't know how long, because psychiatrists before entering the community used to say you can't stay without, your life is destined to live with this medication during all the time of your life. So now she's totally free without any medication after 1 year. She took time to reach this goal, but now she is perfectly fine and she is good. So what we want to say that medication can be useful, but never overuse them. And the tendency, unfortunately, for psychiatrists is to overprescribe all sorts of medication. People arrive here with, I don't know, bags of medications.
Yes.
Many different kind, antipsychotics, antidepressants, anti-anxiety, everything.
They don't even know what they're taking.
Yeah.
It's amazing how easily it can get out of control. I think Monica, it's fair to say something. This is our policy. This is what we believe in. Okay, we believe in living your life, dealing with your emotions, dealing with your inner world,
with pain,
your limits. I think humility is a big part of the game. You need where humility is in our reason, in our thinking, is just being aware of your limits. Okay, how far you can go and how far you can push yourself, and trying to overcome them. Like move on. Right. But at the same time, is I think it's fair to say we cannot accept everybody in San Patrignano. Our model is not for everybody. We have a department. It's an office that takes care of the screening before we take in a guest, somebody. And when it comes to hardcore diagnosis with psychiatric pathologies that we are not structured for, working with, we cannot say yes. We need to be very serious about that. Okay,
Sure.
Such as schizophrenia or violent behavior, bipolar disorder,
major depression,
that are truly diagnosed
diagnosed
by psychiatrists, because sometimes they are not true diagnoses. It happens that people have this diagnosis, but they are not psychotic or whatever. So sometimes we have a psychiatrist within the community that can assess if these diagnoses are true or not, and we try to address
Yes. Yes.
to check if the situation is real.
That approach to, with the goal of weaning them off their prescription drugs, that's so refreshing to see. I know in the States here, we overprescribe tremendously, and we put people on drugs for a lifetime. I get to see when clients start with our facility, the prescriptions that they list on their assessment form, and yeah, it's quite lengthy sometimes, and the length of time is long, and there is no plan to get them off of it in most cases, not all, but most cases. So the fact that you have professional help and a mission to wean them off of that is amazing to hear that. I hope we start doing more of that in the States. So we are going long in this conversation. If we can go longer than an hour, is that okay? Or do we have a hard stop in an hour?
We can remain 15, 20 more minutes.
Okay. Mark, I want to speak to you. You were a resident of San Patrignano. In your bio, you'd put down you were addicted to cocaine for 20 years, and you came to the program. I'm curious, what led to the addiction for you?
Wow, $1 million question. Okay, I don't believe there is one reason. I think there's always a number of reasons. Is about your traumas, as Monica was saying. I had my traumas. I had a very violent father. I think I moved 3 continents, 15 different houses, and 6 or 7 different schools and boarding schools. By the time I turned 16 years old, I think my environment, my social environment, and my family environment did affect me a lot. At the same time, I have an older brother. He's 2 years older than I am, and he's just fine. Okay, so something went wrong at some point. I believe I reached the age where you should begin your growth into the world of a grown man. Okay, with some serious problems. I was very fragile. And I think I met the wrong people at the same time. I was looking for something that made me feel somehow included. Okay, so it's not an original story, but I think that's where it could have gone in a different way. I wasn't scared at all to experiment and something that was taboo. You understand, taboo is taboo. For society, and I found warmness, and I found inclusion with the wrong group of people. Okay, and that's where my responsibility begins. Talking about trauma, okay, I think trauma it can be. We're always talking from a general point of view, so it might be a bit ignorant what I'm saying, but at the same time, I think I can make some points. I think trauma is divided in my story, in my life story, in 2 areas. I'm not responsible for one part of that trauma. I was a victim. A violent father makes many victims. His sons and daughters, first of all.
Nice.
On the other side, I think the trauma that really set up a huge job for me was the trauma I caused myself in my 20 years of abuse, substance abuse. What I really had a hard time dealing with through my program was what I did to myself. And that's where you need to take responsibility, because there's nothing you can do to change things. There's nothing you can do to somehow hug that child that suffered the trauma. There's really nothing you can do. What you can do is try to make the better man of yourself you can make. That's no, yeah, that's redemption. That's how you work on the trauma. So the answer is I began because of trauma, and maybe a bit of unluck. I believe that's an ingredient, okay? And I kept going because of trauma, but I kept going because of the trauma I caused myself. The more I kept living that kind of life, the more I needed the substance, because I can't look to what I'm doing. I don't know if it makes sense. It's very
No,
it's crystal.
Yeah, it absolutely does, Mark, and thank you for sharing that. What the program at San Patrignano, what was most beneficial to you in your stay there? What helped you the most?
I think models, and that I think that the models I learned to respect, beginning from the men who you recognize as people that had the same issue and they've been living. When I arrived here, they were living a normal life. I mean, they had everything. They got their shit together. Sorry for my French. I mean, um, and then you begin looking at the other models, so your peers, and you see these guys that have the same issues, and maybe they have even less tools in some case, that are really working hard, and they believe in something, and they found the courage, to have faith in something they don't know what it's going to be. So that's the main thing, without a doubt. Models, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, models, mentors, positive people to look up to and guide you, right, Mark?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So did you ever consider quitting once you had started your journey there?
Well, I think it happened once. Okay, something that
Only once?
yeah, only once.
Wow. Congratulations. Most of the people think quitting every day.
Yeah,
For a
well,
long time.
it happens a lot. That's true. On my side, I arrived here and was 37 years old. So in a way, like many addicts, I think I spent 19 of my 20 years trying to quit. Um, Really thinking I always had a solution. So, 19 years of failure kind of set me up. I believe, ready. But then you begin your journey, and there's many difficult moments, sufferings. It's psychophysic. I mean, you suffer so much. You express it in your body. That's what really happens. Not only to me, many others go through this kind of like symptom. But no, quitting wasn't an issue for me. I not really. Only once I was very angry. It
Yeah.
was childish the way I reacted. I was like, I'm gonna leave. It's not going the way I want it to go. I can't do this for the rest of my life.
Sure.
But yeah, that's it.
Sure. All right. So we have about 15 more minutes. I have 5 or 6 more questions I want to get to. So if quick answer, if there is one, with how do you break an addiction or a habit? I know there's methods and it's not a clean answer necessarily, but like, is there any one thing that sticks out for our listeners that you could tell them, or advice on how to break an addiction or a bad habit?
Well, I don't know, but there are many pathways towards recovery. Each one has to find his own. I mean, San Patrignano is a residential, long-term, drug-free therapeutic center. We take care of recovery and social integration of people. So we do the all part of the process, but there are people that might take advantage of AA program or NA program and then meet right people, have social connection, have it might take longer or not, I don't know, but there are many people that recover every day in many different ways. So I think that important thing is those that I would like to tell you about an acronym which is used by the recovery community all around the world, which is CHIME, which means connection, hope, identity, meaning, empowerment. These are the
Yes.
5 elements that are fundamental in recovery. If you don't have connection with other people, if people do not welcome you, it might be in a community like in San Patrignano or in a society, in your own city, it is difficult for you to recover. If you don't
Yes.
have hope, and so you have role models, you don't see people that recover every day, if you don't believe that you can change your life, it is difficult for you to address this issue. If you don't develop and don't face a new identity beyond the old identity of addicts that people labeled you with stigma, and you internalized as self-stigma, I am an addict, I can't change my life. You have to
Yes.
develop a new identity. If you don't have meaningful activity, might be job, leisure times, anything, voluntary activities, it is fundamental. These all are part of the final empowerment, which is to strengthen your capacity of facing the troubles and problems in life that still exist. That you can't cancel them, they remain, but you find new ways to tackle with them. So time, I think it's include everything. I love this running.
That's a great answer, Monica. I'm not going to forget that. That'd be easy to remember, and that's very, very powerful. So I hope our listeners write that acronym down, and I hope that can provide assistance to them. Do you have data on the percent of people that relapse after leaving your program?
Yeah, we made essentially two follow-up research, one in 1995 and the second one in 2005. And they both gave as a result that around 70% of people who complete the program remain drug-free and are socially integrated. Of course, there is a percentage of people that leave the community before the end of the program. And so the percentage, let's say, is 50%, considering all the admitted in the community. Also, those who abandon the program after 3-4 months, 6 months.
Yep. Yes.
Obviously,
Okay.
if you don't finish the program, it's going to be a lot more difficult with it.
But still, there are people that are fine also if they don't complete.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes
Yes.
I get in touch with people that left without, let's say, completing the program, and they are fine. So this is something that gives me hope also for those who leave
Mm-hmm.
earlier.
Yes. Do you have a success story that sticks out or stands out? A quick story you want to share with us? I know you have obviously many, many success stories, but is there one that stands out?
A success story?
No, è successo.
Sì,
Ah,
success story di qualcuno?
Sì, 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 una che in particolare ci colpisce. Well, okay, I, as you said, we have
There's so many.
so yeah. I think the stories that really are touching somehow and surprising is whenever you cross someone who probably statistically was destined to
To fail.
failure and death
Yes.
or I mean it's society labeled them long time ago
As chronic.
as chronic, as maybe even violent and dangerous people. Like whenever you see what they are able to do after going through that huge trust issue, basically, which is life. Like,
Mhm.
that gives you a different feeling, something different. It's I have
Yes.
one in my mind as a major cheat.
Judge.
And there's one person I really look up to, knowing his story. I mean, we're talking about 12 years in prison, all kinds of addictions, and his body is tortured by the substance he injected back in the years. We're talking about the 90s, the beginning of the 90s. And his issues as temperament, his temper, his behavioral issues are sometimes still now out of control. But he finds the strength and the humility to move on and keep working. And he has a family and a beautiful daughter, and he's complete as a man. No one would have guessed probably that he had a chance back in the days. And as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing to hear. Were you able to, or have you heard anything about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Speaking about your program? Did you meet him? Did he visit? You didn't know that?
Yeah.
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 Me, no, she.
Yeah, we have many contacts. He also was part of a panel we organized at the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime last year, I think. Yeah, I collaborate with an organization he worked with, which is SMART, and also Smart Approaches to Marijuana. I don't know if you know Kevin Sabek. Do you know him? Yeah.
No.
And no. They with the Robert Kennedy Law, they founded this foundation for drug policy, a name like that. I don't remember the crime exactly, but we collaborate actually in quite often. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I'm a big fan of so much of what he stands for, and that's how I found out about your program. He speaks really highly of it, and he had said that if he becomes our president in the United States, he wants to start a model very similar to yours over here. He had mentioned something along the lines of like calling it a wellness farm, modeled after your program. So kudos to you for inspiring him and his family.
Yeah. There are communities in US that have similar model. I think I sent you a list then.
No,
No?
no.
I will send it because there is the Other Side Academy in Utah, close to Salt Lake City. There is the NC Street Foundation, which is in San Francisco, the headquarters, but they have branches all over USA. There is Troza also in North Carolina. There is Habilitat. They are Hawaii. How do you say Hawaii? And what else? Red Bar Farms, still in Utah. So there are some,
Oh, wow.
but people in the US, I see they don't know these places. They also are free of charge, so without paying, people can access and
Sure.
no fee, no charges. So
Long term.
Sure.
long term,
Yeah.
and include
Yes.
this social entrepreneurship approach so that they can earn their own livings through their activities, as the
Yeah.
Lance Street Foundation do.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. Yeah, so we're coming up on time. I have so much more I could talk to you about. I want to have both of you back on the podcast in the future. This conversation is going to reach a lot of people. Hopefully, it inspires people in some way. How can people learn more about the San Patrignano program?
Well, on our website, there is also the English version. So SanPatrignano.org, O-R-G. There is the English version. You can read about our therapeutic program, how it works, what we do. And also we organize 2-3 times per year a seminar, an intensive seminar. People can come here, stay with us 5 days. We call it International Workshop. Further information on our website. It is a way of learning our method. They have classes in the morning, and then in the afternoon they have these experiential learning labs with our resident in the department, is in close contact with our resident that can't speak English, of course, because the whole seminar is in English. And they can live from inside the life of the community, so that they can really understand how it works.
Yeah, wow, that is amazing. Well,
I'm
we will
going to
put
have
your.
the next one is in June. I'm going to have 5 participants until now, but normally we have 7 to 10 participants, and it's quite an amazing experience for them, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, we will put your website in the show descriptions. This will go live in 3 to 4 weeks from now. It'll reach quite a few people. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, it inspires people to create positive change in their life. And Monica and Mark, I thank you for taking the time today to chat with me. I really, really appreciate it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Ciao,
It
Josh.
was a great opportunity.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting our sponsors, Native Path Supplements, Lombardi Chiropractic, and A Dog's Day Out Doggy Daycare. They help us bring you 2 new episodes each month and have a special discount just for our listeners. See the show notes for more details. Thank you, and see you next time on the Co-Movement Gym podcast.